Hey, what's up everyone, welcome back. So in this new tutorial, you will learn how to create the metal material procedurally in Blender, which means you don't have to subscribe to inexpensive softwares. So all these materials are going to be created just in Blender. So I'd like to show you the workflow. So first we're going to be modeling our barrel, and after that we will create the material. So the first material is going to be the metal, and after that we're going to be creating our rust. And after that we're going to be mixing these two materials, the metal and the rust, using an awesome mask that allows us to achieve some awesome results. So I highly encourage you to stick to the end because you're going to learn some awesome techniques, tips and tricks that allows you to create realistic materials from scratch in Blender. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna get started by creating the shape of our barrel. So I've got some references over here that we will follow. So I like this shape over here. So we're gonna be creating these insets or outsets. Yeah, these shape over here. So I'm gonna jump into Blender and I'm gonna make some room over here so that we can bring our reference from here on the side. So I'm gonna be switching this one to the UV editor. There we go. And I'm gonna bring this reference, the second one. Even the third one looks good. Yeah. So let's bring this one right over here. Okay. So I'm gonna hit A to select everything, hit X and delete everything. Also, let me enable my shortcut keys. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna get started by creating a cylinder shape. So Shift A, search for mesh, and I'm gonna start with a cylinder. Okay, I'm gonna hit G, Z, and hit 1 so that we can put it right on the surface. So I think, yeah, we need to expand it up a little bit. So I'm gonna select this face and let's bring it up. Yep, something like this. Also, let's insert now these edge loops. So on the edit mode, hit tab and Ctrl R and insert two edge loops just like this. Hit Ctrl B, bevel that a little bit just like this. Good. Or even yeah, also over here I'm gonna be switching to the individual origins. Scale Z and let's take it up just a tiny bit. Good. After that I'm gonna hit E and scale Shift Z and let's go outside. Pretty nice. Also for the top, insert one over here and another one on the bottom. So Shift Alt, select these. So Alt so that we can select the entire row of edges, and Shift so that we can keep selecting both of them. So I'm gonna hit SZ and go up, but as you can see we almost gonna be able to do that because we need to change this one from the individual to the median point. So scale Z and let's take it up something like this. After that, Alt, select these, Shift Alt and select the bottom ones. There we go. I'm gonna hit E, scale, Shift Z so that you can fix the selection or the extrude only on these two axes. We don't want to be scaling it like this. So by simply scaling it on the Z, Shift Z, you eliminate the Z axis. Okay, so now it's time to add the subdivision modifier so that we can add more details. So from here, let's add modifier. Is gonna be the subdivision modifier. Also, let's smooth our shading or our object. So go to object and shade smooth. Nice. And now we need to add some edges so that we can sharpen these insets. So for example, over here, we can insert this one, take it up just like this. And let's do the same thing for the bottom one. Good. Let's see. Yeah, looks pretty much good. Let's do the same thing for the top. Take this one up, Control R. Let's take this one down. Same thing over here, take this one up, Control R, take this one down. There we go, so we have our barrel. Also, I think we need to expand it up just a tiny bit. So scale Z up just a little bit. There we go, so this is our barrel. Also over here for the top, what I'd like to do is to create these circle insets. So I'm gonna select this face over here, also for the bottom, and hit E to extrude, scale Z, and let's go down. Yeah, we need to go down like this, but before that we need also to scale it a little bit down. So let's scale down like this. Grab this one. Also I'm gonna hide the subdivision modifier so that you're gonna be able to see everything. Let's take this one up. Yep, something like this. Nice. Okay, also over here what I'd like to do is to add this object. So for this one, what I'd like to do is to select this one. I'm gonna hit E, scale it down. Something like this, and let's move it to the side. There we go. After that, I'm gonna delete it. So hit X and delete that face. And I'm gonna be selecting Alt, select all of these. Shift D to duplicate this circle. Gonna bring it down a little bit. Hit E, Z, and go up. Just like this. Yep, something like this. And let's extrude it again. E, scale down. And yeah, I think we need to add another edge up. So let's EZ, go up. And let's go inside. So E, Z, and let's go down. Perfect. We can also do this. E to scale and hit F to fill that gap. Okay, so let's bring back our subdivision modifier. And let's see, also let's smooth, make sure that everything is smooth. Perfect. Also over here we can insert more edge loops to sharpen those edges. So by the way, we're working right now on the high poly version. So in case you want to use this model for a game engine or as a game environment, game asset, you might consider optimizing it. Okay, so there we go. So we have our barrel. Okay, so now it's time to start creating our materials, and I'm gonna get started by our metal material. So I'm gonna switch over here this one from the timeline. I'm gonna be switching it to the shader editor, just like this. And also over here, I'm gonna be creating a new material, and let's call it metal. I don't know how to pronounce this. Metal. Is it metal or metal? Okay, so let's focus on our metal. So the first thing that I'd like to do is to start with the Voronoi texture. So Shift A, search for Voronoi texture, and we're going to be affecting it with the noise. First, let me connect this one from the distance to the base color so that we can be able to see it over here. I'm going to hit Z and switch to the material view. So basically, this is how this Voronoi looks like. So over here on the other side, I'd like to deform this shape of our Voronoi using a noise. So Shift A, search for noise texture. This one over here, let's connect the factor to the vector. And now you can see that we have in some distortions. You can also increase that scale. So for the scale, I'm going to set it to 10. But also for the details, let me show you that. So let's increase those details. You can see for 0 details, we don't have, yeah, it doesn't look that realistic. But now it looks, it has more details. Okay, so this one, and after that, I would like to connect this one using a color ramp so that we can control the colors. So Shift A, search for a color ramp, and let's put it on top of that. So over here, we're going to be choosing the color of our metal. So I'm going to be choosing something like a gray color, some gray. Over here, let's make it. It's good to have some kind of variations. Yep, something like this. Okay, also over here for the scale, yeah, let's scale. I'm gonna set it to 1.4. Reduce it down. Nice. There we go. So now we can see it better. But don't worry, because we're still gonna be working on the metallic and the other channels. Okay, so now for the other channels, we're gonna be again using a color ramp. Shift A, search for another color ramp. I'm gonna put it on the side over here, and let's connect the distance to the factor. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting the color to the roughness, and let's see what we got. So basically the roughness controls the reflection of our material. So over here, I'm going to actually make it a little bit gray so that you can make it reflective. You can see that reflection right now. So simply black means reflective and white means rough. Also over here, let's make it, I want to make it 100% glossy. So these variations are good for giving us that sense of realism. Okay, so we have this. So after that, I'm going to be we're going to be creating our metallic. And for the metallic, what I'd like to do is to simply invert this map. So I'm going to Shift A, search for invert, put it over here. Also, let's make some room over here. And I'm going to be connecting this one to the color, and let's connect this one to the metallic. Also, in order to see each map so that you can understand how this map works, so I'm going to be enabling the node wrangler so that we can have access to some very interesting shortcuts. So over here for the add-ons, make sure that this node wrangler, this one over here, is checked over here so that you can have access to these shortcuts like Control, Shift, and click. So basically, if you hit Control, Shift, and click on this one, you can see it displayed. So this is the map that we're using as our roughness. So basically, this gray, it's going to be glossy, and this white is going to be rough. Same thing over here. Since we're inverting these colors, so Control Shift, let me click, you will see the opposite. So the black are white and the white is black. And let's go back to our principle. So Control Shift and let's click over here. Nice. Okay, so now all we have to do is to work on our normal map. You can see right now that our surface is 100% smooth and perfect. So we need to add some bumps. So for that, I'm going to hit Shift A again, search for bump. Bump, let's put it on the bottom over here. Let's connect this one. I'm going to be connecting this one to the height. Make sure that you are connecting it to the height and not to the normal. And let's connect the normal to the normal. And let's see. There we go. So now you can see that we have some crazy bumps. Also, let me show you this bump. So Control Shift, click, and you will see a bluish color. So this is how this normal map works. So basically what we need to do is to reduce it way down. So over here I'm gonna be reducing to something like 0.1. And let's see, yeah. So let's go back over to our principal BSDF, Control Shift and click. There we go. So now you can see that we have some bumps, but I think that they are still strong. So let's reduce it down to just half, which is 0.05. Okay, so there we go. So this is our first material, which is the metal. So now we're going to be creating our rust. But before doing that, I'd like to do some tweakings to our barrel. So basically I would like to add some damage to it so that we can make it look more realistic. So based on this reference over here, you can see this kind of damage that we're having on it. So I'd like to do something like this. So I'm going to bring this reference over here. I'm going to bring it over here and let's work on it. So over here, I'm going to switch to the edit mode and I'm going to try to make some tweakings to it. So for example, over here, I'm going to be selecting this edge and you can bring it down. But before that, I would like to enable this proportion editor. So click on it so that we can be affecting a large portion of our barrel. So I'm going to take it down. You can see this one. You can increase that circle. I call it the circle of influence. So something like this. So now you can see that nice damage edge. So you can bring it inside. You can see that damage. So it doesn't have to be perfectly aligned. Same thing for these edges over here. We can select a variety of these like this and we can bring them down like this. Also we can scale Shift Z outside just a little bit so that we can have some deformed shape, but we don't want to go that far. So scale Shift Z, let's bring it a little bit back. So simply keep adding those distractions to our barrel so that we can make it look a little bit damaged. Okay, so our next step will be to create our rust, but before doing that we need to do something really important, which is to frame our nodes. So over here I'm gonna hit Control Space so that we can maximize this window, and I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna take them to the side. You can hit J and move them over here. I'm gonna hit Control G so that you can create this frame over here. Also let me show you the difference between J and G. I don't want to confuse you with that. Yeah, so Control J, this one over here, so that you can create this node, and G so that you can move it just like this. Nice. So Control Space, let's go back over here and let's create I'm gonna simply disconnect this one. Shift A, search for principal BSDF, and let's connect this one to the surface. Okay, so this one over here, let me change its name. I'm gonna be changing its name from frame to metal, just so that we can understand each node and its role, so that we won't gonna be confused along the way. So let's go back. Control Space, let's go back over here and let's start working on our rust. So our rust will be pretty much similar to our metal, except some changes like the color and also for the roughness values. So the first thing is the Voronoi. So Shift A, search for a Voronoi texture just like this. I'm going to be mixing it again with noise. Shift A, search for noise texture, and let's connect the color to the vector just like this. So for the scale over here I'm going to set it to 10, and over here we need to reduce it down, but let's go ahead and connect the color or the distance, the distance to the base color, and let's see the outcome. Okay, so this is what we're having. I'm gonna be increasing the details to 16. Nice. And for the scale, set it to 1.4. Let's see. Yeah, what about 2.5? Yep, I think this one will works better. So our next step will be to add the color ramp. So Shift A, search for color ramp, so that we can control the colors of our rust. There we go. So also I'm going to be bringing a different reference. So we have this one over here, and we have this. This one looks perfect, but I'm going to go with this one. I like how this roughness map, how this rust is created on the bottom. So let me bring this one over here, put it on that, and let's focus on this end results. So what I'd like to do right now is to pick these colors. I would like to pick these colors. So over here, I'm going to be selecting this one first. Click on the black, and we can see over here that we have this eyedropper, which means that we can pick any color that we have in our scene. So I'm going to be picking first this color over here. So I believe that we have basically three colors. We have this dark red, and we have this gray color, and we have this light red or yellow color. So we need to create all of these three colors. So I'm going to be adding a new one of these. I don't know what to call it. And let's pick this one. I'm going to be picking the next color. It's going to be, let's pick this one over here. And for this third color, I think this one over here, something like this. It looks a little bit blue, the third color. Yeah, this one, let's move it to the other side. Or let's move it to the middle. This one, let's move it to the other side. And this one to the right side. Yeah. Something like this. Also over here for the scale, let's try to increase it. Yeah, it looks interesting, but I think what we need to do is to mix it with the noise. So Shift A, search for a noise again. Noise texture. I'm gonna be putting it on the bottom over here, and let's mix it with our color ramp. So let's move this one to the side, and Shift A, search for mix RGB. This one. Not sure if we will do it after or before. Let's try before. Gonna put it over here. Let's connect the color to the second color over here, and let's see what we have. So I'm gonna increase the scale of our noise so that we can see it on the back. Yeah, now you can see that we're seeing something that looks like this, which is good. But also we need to tweak the settings or the colors. Let's try to increase this one to 16 and see. Yeah, we're having some. Let's go back to just 100. 100 is fine. Good. So for the colors, let's tweak them even more. I'd like to tweak them. I don't want to make this one look bright, so let's make it a little bit gray. Nice. Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, so let's proceed. So what I'd like to do right now is to create our other channels, like the roughness. So for the roughness, as you know, the rust is rough, so we need to make it look rough. So Shift A, let's search for a color ramp again, put it over here, and let's connect this one right over here. Let's connect this one to the roughness, and let's see. We're not going to be seeing much difference. So now let's tweak these. So basically, the black means it's going to be glossy. Check this out. If I make it both black, it's going to be completely glossy. We don't want that. We want to make it rough, but also we need to make some variations. So this one, let's make it like this. Nice. So now we can see that we're having some nice variations. So for the metallic, so Shift A, search for invert. I would like to invert those maps just like this to the metallic, and let's see. Okay, so now you can see it looks metallic a little bit, which is good. So our final step for this rust is to create the bumps. So Shift A, let's search for bump node. Let's put it on the bottom over here, and let's go ahead and use this color ramp. Connect it to the height, and let's connect it to the normal, and let's see. Yeah, there we go. So what we need to do is to decrease the strength of it to something like 0.1. Let's see. Or even lower, 0.75, 0.75. Yeah, that's fine. So we created now our rust, and we created our metal material. So also over here, I'm going to be creating a new frame for our rust. So Control Space, and let's, I'm going to pick all of these. Hit Control J, and let's call this frame rust. Okay, so now we created our both materials, the rust and the metal. So now it's time to create our mask. So for our mask, let me show you how we can create it. So I'm going to take this one up. I'm going to create a new frame. So let's select everything over here. Hit Control J. And let's call this one again rust. Rust material. So over here, I'm going to disconnect this one. So Control right click so that we can bring that knife. Let's take this one up. Shift A again, search for principal BSDF. There we go. So let's take this one up. You can both select these two. Hit F to connect them both. Okay, so in order to create our mask, I'm gonna start first by creating a noise. So Shift A, search for a noise, and again I'm gonna be connecting it to a Voronoi, but we're gonna be doing some tweakings. So basically, as I said earlier, you can create a variety of textures using these two nodes. So I highly encourage you to test or to play with these two to create different effects. So check this one. I'm going to connect the color to the scale. Instead of using the vector, we're going to be affecting the scale. And let's connect the distance straight to the base color, and let's see the outcome. Okay, also over here for the scale, I'm going to increase it to 25. And also over here, we need to bring a color ramp. So Shift A, search for a color ramp. So basically what I'd like to do is to separate these colors. You can see over here that we have black, white and black. I would like to make them sharper a little bit. So let's bring these close to each other. There we go. So now you can see this awesome effect that we're having. It looks like rust. Also over here, I'm going to increase. Let's try to set it to 50. Yeah, I think that's a little bit strong. So let's bring it back to just 25. and I'm gonna increase the details over here to 16. Nice. So now all we have to do, also let's make these close to each other so that you can have sharp ends over here. So from here you can tweak this randomness and you will have some different nice effects. You can see it over here. Gonna be tweaking it just like this. Also you can animate it if you want to have some movement of the rust moving along the way. So right click and you can insert a keyframe and you can control this value, which is really good. So let's find the right spots. Yeah, something like this. Yeah. Okay, what about this one? Even this one looks good. So for the bottom over here, we're gonna be making it rusty bottom. Nice. Okay, so now I would like to explain the principle of the mask, how the mask work. So I'm gonna bring these to the side. Also, I'm gonna select these, Control J, and let's call it nice effects. Or you know what? Let's call it mask nice effect or something like that. So I'm gonna bring a mix RGB. So Shift A, search for mix RGB. I'm gonna put it over here. So over here you can see that we can mix two values, the color number 1 and the color number 2. But over here we have this factor. So what is this factor? So this factor is what we're gonna be using to create our mask, So I'm gonna take this one, instead of using the base color, I'm gonna be connecting to our factor, which is our mask. I'm gonna be connecting it to the base color. So you can see that we aren't gonna be able to see anything. The reason why is because over here we have two identical colors. So I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna make it red, and this one I'm gonna make it green. So now you can see this variation. So basically what this means, so basically we're telling Blender to take the black value and making it green. Also we can make sure, so Control Shift and click over here. So you can see over here that we have this white value. So basically the white value is the green, this one over here, and the red is the black. So this is how this mask works. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting on the color number 1, we're going to be connecting our metal, and over here we're going to be connecting our rust, so that we can have replace these colors with our material that we created. So I hope you understand how this mask works, because it's really useful when creating materials. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm gonna maximize this window, Control Space, just like this, and let's start with our, let me bring my metal, gonna take it first, and we have our mask first, our metal, and our rust. So over here, instead of connecting this one to the base color, I'm gonna be taking it from here and connecting it to the color number 1. And over here, the same thing. So this one over here, I'm gonna be connecting it to the color number 2, just like this. So let's move on to our second map, which is the metallic. I'm gonna simply duplicate this one, Shift D. Let's put it below that. And let's again use that mask to the factor. And over here we have this one connected to the metallic, and let's connect it straight to the top. And over here, let's connect this one to the bottom. And over here, let's connect this one to the metallic. Duplicate this one, duplicate. I hope everything is clear. I don't want to confuse you. So we're simply combining the metal and the rust using our mix RGBs and using this one as our mask. So our third step is gonna be for the roughness. So where is the roughness? This one connects to the roughness. So let's pick this one and connect it to the first color. And over here, this is our roughness. So let's take this one and connect it to the color number 2. And for our mask, let's connect it to the factor. Also, we can do this. So hit Shift and right click, and we'll create a point. And we can bring this point down. I don't want to make it over here, so Control Z to go back. Let's make it just for these. There we go. So this one over here is our roughness, so let's connect it to our roughness. And our last node, it's gonna be the normal map. So Shift D, put this one down, and let's take this, our mask, connect it to the factor. Noise over here, but instead of using the bump, I'm gonna be taking this one over here. Let's put it to the top, because over here we're going to be duplicating this bump. So I'm taking this one, the one that is connected to the bumps. Same thing for the bottom over here. Let's connect this one to the color number 2, and over here I'm going to be using a bump node. There we go. Let's connect this one to the height and the normal to the normal, and over here normal to the normal. Let's make some space over here. There we go. So over here for the strength, let's make it like this, which is 0.05. Okay, so let's go back and see the results. So Control Space, and let's see what we got. There we go. So we have our mixing of our materials. We have our rust on the bottom, and we have our metal on the other side. So also over here, let's tweak these even more. So I'd like to make these even sharper so that we can have that sharp. So you can see that nice effect, which is really good. Also over here, let's go back and control the randomness. I really like this moving effect. So you can do a lot of possibility with this one. You can animate it, you can add a lot of things. If you'd like to learn more, please consider checking my website, realityfakers.net. I've got a training program that teaches you how to achieve photorealism by creating 3 different scenes that are based on real references. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next tutorial. Take care.